we have a phone call traffic with them, and these are progressing in the positive direction as well. Last week, the NATO Leaders Summit was held in Brussels, and in this summit, we have uh, demonstrated this approach to all member countries. We say the world is bigger than five, and at the UN Security Council, we have voiced our uh, objections to the global order, and we had similar feelings. In Davos, we said 1 minute, and we opposed oppression and pressure uh, and persecution, and at the time our cause was peace and respect for human life. Turkey, for close to 40 years, has been fighting against terror, and it has experienced many suffering and injustice and has paid half the prices but never diverged from the correct path. From the Caucasus to Balkans or from Libya to Syria, in this broad region, cross-border political, diplomatic and security struggle is based on the same philosophy. With AFAD, TİKA and the Presidency of Turks Abroad and the Marif Foundation and various NGOs, we are represented on different corners of the world, running development and humanitarian aid projects. In fact, in the political spectrum of our country, as we describe ourselves, we say that our top attribute is the cordial connections that we establish with our nation. There have been groups who have criticized our human-centric politics, or who have looked down on it and tried to ridicule it or try to sabotage it with slander. And similarly, Turkey's Civilization and History March has been compared to their own security and prosperity areas based on the exploitation of others. Even in topics where Turkey is right, it is sometimes left unsupported, and sometimes campaigns are run against it, and these are all based on the same fact. But during this process, thankfully, we have always carried out the responsibility given to us by our history and our civilization, and we have overcome the challenges one by one, and we continued our struggle. And with the help of God and the support of our nation, we were able to save our country from many challenges, but thanks to the strong democracy and development infrastructure that we have established, we have laid the groundwork for bigger leaps.
Salgının tetiklediği sağlık ve ekonomik krizleri
With the Ukraine-Russia war, the crises have deepened, but Turkey has continued its journey of current surplus and employment, investment and exports. As a country and as a nation, as we continue on this journey and as we overcome challenges, of course we pay prices. With terror groups, our peace is attacked, or our freedom is attacked on 15th of July, or our economy is attacked through social media, and the attackers are planning to impose destructive impact for everyone in our country. In the force struggle in East Mediterranean, those who elevate tension are trying to attack our future. Even the developed countries were hesitant during the pandemic, but Turkey was able to keep its health services continuing, and this has given trouble to certain groups. And lastly, in the Russia-Ukraine crisis, there have been those who worked very hard to make our country a party to the war, but we have established bridges of peace, and we know that they have only witnessed this in frustration. In the past 20 years, our country has realized major leaps of development. One indication of this is the 1915 Çanakkale Bridge,
ezildiklerinin
And we know that there
farkındayız.
are certain people
Buradan
who are
bizim
crushed under the
nezdimizde
glorious appearance
ülkemizi ve
of this bridge.
milletimizi
Through
hedef
me,
alanlara
there
mesajımızı
have been those who
altını
have
çizerek
targeted
bir
our
kez daha
country and the
tekrarlıyorum.
nation, and I reiterate our message
Unutmayın.
to those.
Orta
Keep in
Asya'da
mind,
daha önce Japonya bir numarayken
in the central
şu
span,
anda
Japan had
ülkemiz
the
dünyanın
biggest
bir
bridge,
numarası
but
oldu.
now we have the biggest bridge in
Bundan
the
dolayı
world. For that
herhangi bir
reason,
takdirinizi beklemiyorum.
we don't
Ama
expect you
takdir
to
etseniz
appreciate this development,
lütfen
but
kaba
if you
sürede
do, that would not
büyük
make
ve
you
güçlü
smaller, it would
Türkiye'nin
make you
inşasını
bigger.
engellemeyi unutmayın.
You
Başaramayacağız.
will not be able to prevent the building of a big and strong Turkey.
Türkiye'nin adil ve samimi duruşuyla
Turkey
bölgesinde
has
ve
a fair
dünyada
and
barışın,
frank stance, and
güvenin
it
köprüsü haline
represents
dönüşmesini
peace and stability
engelleyemeyiz.
in the region and in the world. And you
Ülkemizin
cannot
en büyük 10
prevent Turkey.
ekonomi arasına girerek
Our
hem
economy will
bizi ve
become
tüm
one of the
dostları
top
için
10
yeni
in
bir
the
dünya
world, and
inşası
it will
gayretlerini
continue
ortak
working
yapacağız.
for building a new world for
Nice zorlu
itself and its
mücadeleleri,
friends. Many
beraberce
difficult
yürüdüğümüz
challenges
ve
have been
hayati
overcome,
imtihanları birlikte
and
geçtiğimiz
many important
nice
tests have been
mümkün değil
passed
denilenleri
together, and
birlikte
many
başardığımız
so-called impossibles
milletimizin
have been achieved
2023'te
with
bu
our
köklü
nation.
yürüyüşe
And in
bir kez daha
2023,
güç
the nation
vermesine
will
nail
give
olabildik.
strength once again to
Bugüne
this
kadar
blessed
ülkemize
journey. So
kazandırdığımız
far, we were
eser ve
able to bring
hizmetler
many
elbette
projects
önemli.
and
Ama
works
asıl
to
bundan
our
sonra
country which are
yapacaklarımızla
significant. But
Türkiye'yi
with what we will
dünyanın en
do
üst
in the
ligine
future, we will carry
çıkartacağız.
Turkey to the
Geçmişte
highest league
ülkemizin
in the
benzer
world.
fırsatları
In the past,
değerlendirmesinin
our
önüne
country wanted
darbelerle,
to use similar
juntalarla,
opportunities, but coup
vesayet
attempts
oyunlarıyla
or juntas
defalarca
or
geçmişler yaptık.
tutelage has been
Bu defa
employed to
onlara
prevent
aynı
it from
keyfi
using its
yaşatmayacağız.
potential. But this time, we will not give them
Zorluklarımız
the
yok
same
mu?
opportunity. We do have
Sıkıntılarımız yok mu?
challenges, we do have
Eksiklerimiz yok mu?
certain difficulties or
Önümüze döşenen mayınlar,
deficiencies. There are some
ayağımıza dolanan
mines
ipler,
laid in front of
işimizi
us or
zorlaştıran
traps
tuzaklar yok mu?
set for us. Yes, they all
Hem
do
de
exist,
mevzul miktarda.
and many
Ama
of them
bunların
actually.
tamamının
But all of
üzerinde
these,
bizim ülkemizi
above all
güçlü,
of them, there is
milletimizi
our will
müreffeh
to
yapma
make our
inancımız,
country strong or
irademiz,
to make our nation
hazırlığımız,
prosperous. We have the
birikimimiz,
will, the preparation,
imkanımız
the know-how, the
varlığımız.
groundwork, and the dedication
Herkesin
to do so.
bir hesabı,
Everyone
herkesin
has
bir
their
planı
own,
vardır.
may have their
Fakat
own plans,
en
but
büyük hesap
the
ve en
biggest
büyük
plan
plan sahibi
is always made by God.
herkesin içinden geçen niyetler,
People's
kalbinde yatan
intentions,
aslanlar olabilir. Fakat
people may have different
son
intentions in
söz
their hearts, but the
milletimize
last word always is
bugüne
with
kadar
our nation.
Rabbimizden gelen
So
takdirle
far, with
milletimizin
the
verdiği
help
bir
of
karara
God and
ve
with the
her
decision
zaman
of our nation, we have always complied and we have
İnşallah
surrendered to it.
2023'e
And
kadar
hopefully, until
yetimimizi çerçeve
2023, we will
üstü
work
taraflarımızı
day and night and we will
zayıf
further
taraflarımızı
strengthen our
takviye
strengths
ederek
and we will
milletimizle
reinforce our
aramızdaki gönül
weaknesses and
köprülerini
we
daha
will
da sağlamlaştıracağız.
establish more
Aziz
links between the hearts
açılışını
of our
büyük
nation.
bir heyecanla,
We have,
tarifsiz bir
in great
mutlulukla yaptığımız
enthusiasm and happiness,
1915
inaugurated
Çanakkale
the
Köprüsü
1915
hem tarihi
Çanakkale
misyonu
Bridge, which
hem
has a
fiziki
historic mission
özellikleriyle
and
çok derin
physical
manalara
attributes
sahiptir.
and is an important
Her şeyden
work
önce bu
of
köprü
deep meaning.
tam
First and
140 yıl
foremost,
önce
this bridge
benzer bir projeyi düşünen,
was
hazırlığını yaptıran
similar
ama ülkenin o
to
dönemdeki
a
şartları
project which was
sebebiyle
first
bunu
devised
hayata
140
geçiremeyen
years ago.
ecdada
Our
armağan.
ancestors, it's a gift to our
Aynı şekilde
ancestors
köprü
who planned a
107
similar
yıl önce
project but couldn't do it.
Çanakkale'de
Similarly,
imanıyla,
107 years
yüreğiyle,
ago in
canıyla,
Çanakkale, with their faith, with their
tırnağıyla
lives,
yürüttüğü bir savaş
and with
sonunda
their
büyük bir
blood and
zafer
tears, they
kazanan
have
tüm
our
kahramanlarımızdan
ancestors, our heroes have
bir
worked very
şükran,
hard and
bir
achieved
minnet,
a victory,
bir
and this
teşekkür
is a
ifadesi.
token of
Yine
appreciation
bu köprü
or gratitude towards them.
Cumhuriyetimizin bir
Again,
asra yaklaşan
this
muasır
bridge
medeniyet
is a
zihniyetinin
symbol of
üzerine
the journey of our country, the journey of reaching a current civilization level, a journey of 100 years coming into formation as a bridge. From the laying of the foundation to the opening, I have followed the progress of this important monument step by step, and once again I hope that it will be auspicious for our country and our nation. Just like every other big project that Turkey boosts, I would like to congratulate those who overcome many challenges in making this possible. If you remember, when the first bridge was being built over the Bosphorus, some people called this the biggest evil committed against the city of Istanbul. They tried to sabotage the project. And despite this, the 15th July Martyrs Bridge was completed and opened. As the second bridge was being built, the similar complaints were repeated, this similar delirium was repeated through Özal, and the Fatih Sultan Bridge was built under such embarrassing discussions and was completed. When I was the mayor of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, when we initiated the Marmaray project, the same poisonous arrows were shot against myself this time. After a long struggle, we were able to complete and open this important project. We had to go from court to court because they delayed us for 4 years, but we were able to finish it ultimately. And currently, we are able to cross from Asia to Europe. They use the same tunnel as well. The Avrasya, likewise, and with the Avrasya project, I will not go into details now, but with the Avrasya project, the so-called Gang of Five, as they call it, those, put them aside, among the builders of the Avrasya Tunnel, there were those who carried similar political opinions with them. The third necklace on the strait was the Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge, and they ran campaigns or media articles and they carried out demonstrations. I remember it like it was yesterday. They, if they had the strength to do so, they would carry out every kind of treachery by misinterpreting a court resolution. They claimed that the third bridge would only be 2 concrete towers, but the rest wouldn't be completed. We did not forget what they have done. The same group said similar claims about the bridge in Çanakkale, but our response, as always, has been to complete the project on our agenda as soon as possible and to offer it to the service of our nation. The 1915 Çanakkale Bridge is equally important because it is based on the public-private partnership model and it's built in the build, operate, transfer method. It is the most recent big work that we have made possible in our country. But Mr. Kemal does not know what build, operate, transfer means. He would not understand. It's not something that everybody can understand. For that reason, you have to have studied this area, but he has not. For many years, there are certain people who have been slandering us through this investment model. We have made projects which they criticized. The IGA project, if I ask them, they would not even know what it is. Today, it is one of the top 3 airports in the world, the Istanbul airport. The new project in Çanakkale is also glorious, and they try to create question marks in people's minds in order to cast a shadow on this important monument. At the Istanbul airport, similarly, it was a groundbreaking project in the world.
Ve şimdi yüklenici firmalar,
The
işletmeci firmalar
contractors,
buraya
the
ilave
operators
bazı
are trying
proje
to
tadilatıyla
develop some
güzellikler.
additional projects around this area.
Geçmediğimiz köprünün parasını ödüyoruz çarpıtması yaptılar.
They are trying to distort
En
facts
son
by
dönemde
saying
olan
they
bu
will have to pay
imkanları
for a bridge that
elbette
they do not cross.
kale almak.
But of course, we do not listen to their defamation.
Bununla
We
birlikte
turn
ola
a
ki bu
deaf
yalanlar
ear to it.
sebebiyle tereddüde düşen vatandaşlarımız
If there are
varsa
citizens
onlar
who
için
have
kısaca
hesitations
kamu
or
özel
question
ortaklığı
marks because
veya
of such
işletme
slander, we
projelerinin
can
ne
briefly
anlama geldiğini
explain to them
şöyle
what
bir kez
it
daha
means
hatırlatmak
a
isterim.
build operate transfer model or a
Kamu özel
public-private
ortaklık projeleri
partnership
tüm
model.
dünyada yaygın
The
olarak
PPP
kullanılan
projects
bir altyapı
is
modeli.
an infrastructure model which is
Dünyada
very
sadece
commonly used in
2021
the world.
yılında bu
In
model ile
2021, alone in the world,
35,6 milyar
35
dolarlık
billion
yatırım yapıldı.
dollars of investment has taken
Türkiye bu
place.
modeli en
Turkey
verimli şekilde
has
kullanan
been
Avrupa'da
the
3.
third country in
dünyada
Europe and
13.
the
ülke
13th country in the world which has used this model
Almanya
in the most
yeni otoyol
efficient way.
projelerinin
For
önemli bir
new
kısmını
highway
bu modelle
projects,
hayata geçirme
Germany
kararı
is
aldı.
employing this model as well.
Amerika bir
In
süre
the
önce
US, a short
açıkladığı
while ago,
1,5
the
trilyon dolarlık
1.5 trillion
altyapı
dollar
projesinin
infrastructure
önemli bir
projects,
bölümünü
a
bu modelle
significant
hayata
portion will be
geçirecek.
carried out with this model
Ülkemiz
as well.
geçtiğimiz 20
Our
yılda
country, in the
ulaştırma
past
ve
20 years,
haberleşme
has made
alanında bu modelle
progress in
37,5
communication and
milyar dolarlık
transport,
yatırıma
and
kavuştu.
Turkey was able to gain $37 billion of investment. And, Monsieur Kemal, we did not do this out of the national budget.
Tedarikçi
They are
aynı zamanda
suppliers and they also chose to invest, and for a certain period they operate the project as well. According to studies, in 2024 the PPP projects burden on the treasure will almost come to zero, and with the following year it will turn into a source of revenue for the treasury. Of course, this calculation is only about the guaranteed levels. Once the investment comes into operation, the government, the state will have time, fuel, and tax savings. The fuel savings, for instance, is and the other gainings for the economy will contribute in terms of revenue to the public. With the PPP model, from 2013 to 2021, the investment that has been carried out has contributed $395 billion and to our economy, and 800 billion to our production, and 1 million additional employment. This contribution increases each passing year, and by the end of the operation period, the projects built will be transferred to the state. And today, Mr. Adil, have you carried out the collection for Antalya? How much was it? $2.1 billion have been, as you know, an extension tender has been carried out, and the first installment, 2.1, has been collected today. It will be collected. As long as you know how to do business. With this model, big projects have been brought to our country, and the maintenance and development costs can also reach levels that can be compared to the initial investment cost. So no matter what angle you look at it from, this is profitable and auspicious and effective and efficient investment model for our country, and we are employing this model in a widespread fashion in our country. That brings us to the claim that we have to pay for the bridge that we do not cross, or a service that we don't use, as per their claim. In every
her köyde,
province, in
her
every
kamu
village
saptalarında
of our
yol,
country,
köprü,
roads,
hastane,
bridges,
okul,
hospitals,
baraj,
schools,
sulama
dams, and
tesisi, kamu
irrigation
hizmet binası
facilities and public
yatırımlarının
service buildings are
her
being
yatırım
built.
onu bir
Each
türlü
investment
kullananlar yanında
is
ülkenin
benefiting
birliğini
those who directly
korumaktadır.
use it, but they're also the
Üstelik
common property
doğrudan
of the
bütçeden
country and
yapılan
the nation.
yatırımlarda
In
bir bedeli
investment that are
peşinden
paid by
ödenir.
the treasury, the
Hizmet
cost
ise
is
proje
paid in advance,
tamamlandıktan
but
sonra
the service is
alınmaya başlanır.
acquired in installments after the
Buralarda verilen
completion of the
hizmetlerin
project. The
hemen
services that
tamamı
are offered here,
ücretsiz oldukları
almost
için
all the services
kamuya
offered here
doğrudan
are free
herhangi
of
bir
charge.
maddi
For that
geri
reason,
dönüşte
they have
bulunmuyor.
no financial
Kamu
returns
özel
to
işbirliğinde ise
the state.
proje
In
faaliyete geçene
PPP
kadar
projects,
garanti
until
dahil
the project comes into
kamudan
operation,
herhangi bir kaynak
there is no
tahsisi söz konusu
resource
değil.
allocation from the public budget.
Değerli kardeşlerim, proje
And
hizmete
brothers and
girdikten
sisters,
sonra da
once the project
sadece
comes into
garantinin
operation,
dahiliyle
only the
gerçekleşme
guarantee,
arasındaki
the
farkın
difference
ödemesi
between actual and guaranteed levels
inşa
are being
edilen
paid
eser
from the public
randımanlı
budget.
şekilde çalışmaya
If
başladığında
once the
ödemenin
built
yapılması yönünde
project runs
tek
in
bedelin
good
sağlandığında
performance, no
bizlerin
payment
bu
is
süreç
made, but
bitiminde de
to the
yatırım
contrary, it brings
tamamen
additional
devlete
revenues to
teslim
the
edilir.
public finance. And
Mesela
once the operation period
Avrasya
is over,
Tüneli'nin
the
işletme
project is
süresi
handed over
bittiğinde
to the
devlet
public. For instance,
vergi
the
ve diğer
Avrasya
kazançlar
Tunnel.
hariç
Once the time period is
üste en
over,
az
the
140
state
milyon dolar
will have
para almış olur.
collected at least $140
İstanbul
million.
İzmir Otoyolu
The Istanbul
ve onun
Izmir
bir parçası
Highway
olan
and
Osman
the
Gazi
Osman Gazi
Köprüsü'nün
Bridge, which is one
işletme
part of it,
süresinde devlete
during the
sağlayacağı
operation
sadece
period,
KDV
the
gibi toplam
VAT revenue that it will give to
1,3
the public
milyar
is
avro.
1.3 billion euros.
1915 Çanakkale
The
Köprüsü
1915
ülkemize
Çanakkale Bridge
kazancının da sadece vakit,
that will
ve
help us save
karbon
time,
salınımındaki
fuel,
azalım
and help
getirisinin
us decrease
yıllık
carbon emissions,
415
which will
milyon avro
contribute
olacağı
415
hesaplanmaktadır.
million euros per year
Şimdi
for
sizlere
our economy.
yine bir kamu özel
Again,
ortaklığı projesi olan
another public-private
Antalya
partnership
Havalimanı'nın
project, the
kapasite
Antalya
artırımı
Airport,
ve
the
işletme
capacity
ihalesinin
increase and
son
operation
gelişmeleri
tender.
bilgisini
I would
az
like
önce
to
ifade ettim.
share the recent developments with you.
Ve bilindiği üzere
As you know,
Antalya Havalimanı'nın
the Antalya
Aralık
Airport
ayında
in
yapılan inşa ve işletme ihalesinin toplam
the
bedeli
total cost of the construction
8
and operation
milyar
tender, which was carried
555
out in
milyon
December,
avro
was
ve
8.5 billion
865
euros
milyon avro
operation and
tutarında ile
765
TAV
million euros
Raport
investment.
iş
The
ortaklığı
TAF Rapport
kazanmıştır.
partnership won the tender.
İhaleyi kazanan firmalar
The companies
işte
which won
bugün
the
az önce
tender
ifade ettiğim
today, as
firmalar.
they have paid the number that I have
Bu
just
gelişmeler
shared with you.
ülkemize ve devletimize
Such
güven
developments
ve itiraz
contribute to
kaynağı
our
olmuştur.
country and our nation, and I hope they will
Görüldüğü
be
gibi kamu özel
auspicious.
işbirliği
As
projeleri bu
can be
ülkenin
seen, the
hiçbir
public-private
vatandaşının
partnership
cebinden
projects do
haksız
not
ve adaletsiz
cause
yere
any
tek kuruş
unfair
kesilmediği gibi tam
single
tersine
kurush being
hem
paid out
yatırım
of the
modeli
budgets of the
hem
nation,
doğrudan
but to the
ve
contrary, thanks
dolaylı
to the
getiri
investment model and
hem
direct
sonunda
and
kamuya varacak
indirect
olması
benefits
sebebiyle
and ultimate
sayısız
handover
faydalar
to
sağlayan
the
eserdir.
public, they are important projects
Esasen
with countless
kamu özel
benefits.
yatırımlarının
The
önemli
public-private
bir kısmında
partnerships, in
vatandaşlarımızın
majority of them,
hizmetten faydalanmasını kolaylaştırmak
in
için
order to
projede öngörülen
enable our
tarifelerin çok
citizens
altında
to
bir
use the
bedel
project, we
uygulanır.
usually apply a fee
Garanti
much lower
ödemelerinin
than
önemli bir
initial
kısmı da
plan.
bu yüzden
The
ortaya
guarantee
çıkmaktadır.
payments are
Bir başka
partially
ifadeyle
because of this as well.
devletin
In
imkanlarını
other words, we use the
milletin
means of the
emirleri
state for the
Avrupa,
service of
Amerika,
the nation.
Asya'nın gelişmişliğini artırmak için
In order to
kullandığı bir yatırım modelini
This is an investment
Türkiye'de
model used by
işlemez hale
different
getirmeye
countries
çalışanların
in
verdiği
order to
hizmete
increase the level of
milletin
development. But
inanın
there are
sesi
certain
çıkıyor.
groups who want
Bunlara verilen
this
isim
model to be inoperable
mesnetsiz
in Turkey, and
tartışmalarda
they're not doing this
ülkemizin
to the
yönetim
benefit of the
sisteminden
nation.
ekonomik işleyişe kadar
From
her
the
alanda
governance model to
evlat
the economic
hasretiyle
operation, they are aiming to
rahatlar.
bring our country
Mümkünse
to its
geri
old
sefer.
days, and they want to beat down
Varsın
or knock
birileri
down our country.
dışarıda hazırlanıp
Even if there are
ellerine
groups
ucuz
who
olan
repeat
bu raporları
such
kendi
reports
model
which are
teknik bilgileri
prepared outside and given to
toparlamaya
them even if they present it or read it out as if their own work. Even if there are these groups who try to pass their time with slanders and defamation and lies, even if these groups try to conduct politics without caring for the interests of the nation, even if they try to chase their own greed or their own evil agendas. We will keep loving our country and our nation, and we will keep making new projects and monuments for our country and going towards our 2023 and 2053 vision in order to build a big and strong Turkey.
Aziz milletim, Türkiye'ye 81 vilayetinin her karışıyla 20 yılda
With all
kazandığımız
81
eserleri anlatabilen
provinces, we
ve
have
yaşadığımız
made many new
sıkıntıları
projects in our
elbette
country. Of
görmezden
course, as we
gelmeyiz.
talk about those, we're not
Ülkemizin
ignoring the
demokrasi
present
ve
problems.
kalkınma yolunda önüne çıkan her
Our
meseleyi
country is
çözmemiz
overcoming all
ve
obstacles
pahalı,
in its
başta
journey
olmak
of
üzere
democracy
bütün
and
sıkıntıların
development, and
üstesinden
we
gelip bu
will
alanda
overcome
yine
the current problems like the cost of
eğitimden
life. We are the
sağlığa,
ones who can
ulaşımdan
overcome such
enerjiye,
challenges, from
spordan
education to
sosyal desteklere
transport
kadar
to sports
her
to
alanda
social aid.
insanımızın
In every
refah düzeyi
area, we have
Cumhuriyet
increased the
tarihinin
level of
en üst
prosperity
seviyesine
of our nation
çıkmıştır.
to the highest level
Bu
seen in our
hizmetleri
history.
getirirken
And as we
karşılaştığımız
introduce
engelleri
these services, we have
milletimizin
run into
gönlünden
obstacles,
gelen Allah razı olsun
and we were able to
sizlerden aldığımız
overcome
güç
those
ve
obstacles thanks
motivasyonla
to the strength
başararak
that we draw
sürdürüyoruz.
from the heartfelt love and
Sadece
prayers of our
yatırım
nation.
yapmakla, eser ortaya
We did
koymakla
not
kalmıyor.
only invest and
Siyasi,
build new projects,
diplomatik,
we have overcome
askeri,
political,
dış ticaret,
diplomatic,
ülke
military,
alanımızı
and
geniş
foreign
malzeme
trade obstacles. We have increased our
güçlendirdik,
influence area in a
arttırdık.
way to support the
Kültürel
development
ve
goals of
kültürel
our country.
faaliyetlerine rağmen
Despite the fifth
Türkiye'yi
arm
bölgesimin lideri,
activities run,
dünyanın
Turkey
sözü dinlenen
is
ülkeleri grubuna
one
çıkardı.
of the leading countries in its region and in the world. And for
Sıkıntılarımızı
that reason,
konuşurken,
we say, as we
tartışırken,
discuss present
dertlenirken
problems or daily
Türkiye'nin
problems,
mevcut
as we share
takıntılarını hangi
our problems,
badirelerden geçerek
we should
elde
always keep
ettiğini
in mind
asla
what Turkey had to
unutmuyoruz.
overcome as it reached the current
Ülkemizin
level
vakti
that it
ve
has reached. The
enerjisi
time and
yıllarca
energy of our
vesayet
country
üstümüze
has
yıkan
been
milli
wasted
irak,
for many
hiçe sayılarak
decades through
demokrasi
tutelage
kağıt
forces,
üzerinde bırakılarak
and democracy was only
siyasetin
on
altı
paper as
boşaltılarak
well as
imha
national
edildi.
will, and politics
Bir
was
dönem
undermined.
terör
For a time
örgütlerine
period,
saldırılarıyla,
terror
sosyal
groups
kaos çıkarma
attacked,
denemeleriyle
and there were attempts
milletimizin
for
ruhuna
social chaos in
kastedildi.
order to attack the
Biz
peace of our
kararlı ve
nation.
dirayetli bir
But
mücadeleyle
we had
bu tür
a
sorunları
dedicated
sadece
and
sınırlarımız
resilient
içinde
struggle,
çözmekle
and we
kalmadık.
did not only solve such
Aynı
problems
zamanda
inside our
PKK başta
borders,
olmak
but we
üzere
also
milletin canına
fought
musallat
against
olan terör
PKK and
örgütlerinin de
other terror groups
başını
which
ezdik,
were
belini
attacking
kırdık.
the nation.
Mücadeleyi
We were able to
sınırlarımızın
beat
ötesine
them.
taşıyarak
We carried the fight
780 bin
outside
kilometre
our
kare vatan
borders,
toprağının
and
her karışında
on, on
insanlarımızın
every inch
güvenliğini,
of our homeland,
huzurunu
we have ensured the
garanti altına
peace
alacak
and
güçteyiz.
security of our
Ülkemizin
people.
müzmin sancısı olan darbeler dönemini
The
FETÖ
time
ihanet
period of
çetesinin
coups
silahlarının karşısına
or
milletimizle
the
birlikte
attacks of the FETÖ
imanla,
terror group, we were able to
inançla,
stand against it
cesaretle dikilerek
with
etkisiz
courage
hale getirmek
and with
suretiyle
conviction.
hizmet
We defied those attacks,
Türkiye'ye
and we ended
vesayetle,
that time period
darbelerle,
through
terör
tutelage,
örgütleriyle
coup, and terror
toplumsal
groups,
pay hatlarını kırdık.
and by
Askeri
igniting
tehditler,
social fault lines or
uluslararası
military threats
dayatmalarla
or
aşılacak
international
engeller
impositions,
son olarak
they were unable to
toplumumuz üzerinde.
bring Turkey to its knees, and they have
En
recently
çarpıcı örneği
targeted our
2018
economy.
Ağustos
We have
ayında
seen the most
yaşadığımız
striking example
ekonomik
of this in the
tuzakları da
August of
ülkemizin
2018,
potansiyelini
and
daha
such
verimli şekilde
economic
harekete
traps
geçirerek
are
daha çok çalışarak,
have been
daha
defied
çok
by
üreterek
employing the
başarılı
potential of our economy
Biz
and by
hamdolsun
working and
mücadelemiz sonucunda
producing more.
dünya
As we were giving the struggle, the world has met the coronavirus pandemic. The pandemic crisis started as a health threat, but it over time affected employment, finance, supply chains, and security, and it emerged as a global earthquake. And we have been attacked by unethical and unfair besiege. But despite this, this has demonstrated once again the strong infrastructure and the administration capacity of our country to friend and foe alike. And during this time period, our priority has been to protect the subsistence and the employment and food of our nation thanks to the economic operation that we continued without breaks. They did not stop there, and they we have saved our economic policy from the vicious circles of exchange rate and interest rate, and we have taken steps to grow our economy through more employment and current surplus and exports. Just like our fight against tutelage, coup, and terror groups, this historic change has come at a cost. If we cannot pay this price and make use of such opportunities, the following half century or quarter century will be doomed to the same vicious cycle as well. Our nation has given us the responsibility to run the country, but this responsibility has been given to us so that we can save our country and the nation from the fiercest storms when necessary. In Iraq, in the past 20 years, major destructions have been experienced. In Syria, right in front of our eyes, for 11 years now, a major tragedy has been going on. The shining star of its region, Libya, has also been put into fragments, and recently the territories of Ukraine has been taken over piece by piece, and ultimately it was occupied in its entirety. And all such scenarios and much more have also been tried on our country as well. But with our nation heart to heart and shoulder to shoulder, we have protected the integrity of our homeland and the unity and the brotherhood of our nation and the survival of our country. We have overcome, we have defied threats one by one. And during this challenging struggle, we have taken decisions or made choices or we have conducted resilient politics, and this has had gainings for the country and the nation. If we had given in to tutelage or the Gezi incidents or the ditch events or 15th of July coup attempt, if we if these worked in order to bring our country to the same dark plans, I could not even imagine how our country would be today. Today, we are rightfully complaining about cost of life. The If our country was occupied by those, we would not be talking about cost of life, but we would be talking about the freedom that we have lost, or homes destructed, or the suffering of our dark future, or the loved ones that we lose. In Syria and in Ukraine, homes have been abandoned and millions have had to abandon their homeland. If we imagine how they feel or what kind of a despair they feel, we can observe it firsthand. Close to 200 orphans from Ukraine and their teachers have been taken into our country, and we are hosting them in our country. These are orphans. It's not easy what they experience. Women with their children, with their luggages, they had to flee and come all the way here. They go to Hungary or Romania, and this is not easy.
Şunu çok açık net söylüyorum.
I
Ülkemize
have to
sağladığımız
express
en
openly
büyük kazanımız,
the
kazanım
biggest gaining
milletimize
that we
verdiğimiz
have
güvenidir.
made possible in our country, or the
Türkiye'yi
biggest
bizde
service
virgülüne
that we
düşürmeden
make for our country,
kurtardık.
was to save our country from experiencing a similar fate.
Üstelik bununla da kalmadık. Ülkemizi tüm mazlumların ve
We
mağdurların
did not
sınırına
stop there.
hakim
We have also made our country a shelter for all the oppressed. 5 million in
Irak'tan,
total from
Afganistan'dan
Syria,
bu
Iraq,
ülkemize
and
geçti.
Afghanistan.
Türkiye'nin birbirleriyle savaşan tarafların bile güvendiği,
Turkey is
itimat
a
ettiği,
country that even
diyaloğun
warring
ve barışın
parties trust
teminatı saydığı
and see
tek
as an
belirleyicinin
assurance
sebebi
of dialogue
geride
and
bıraktığı
peace.
işte bu zorlu
And the
mücadele
reason for
dönemini
this is
başarıyla geçirmiş olması.
Turkey's achievements in the
Bugün de
past
geçtiğimiz 20
challenging time
yılda
period. In the
ülkemize
past 20
kazandırdığımız
years, we
eser
have
ve hizmet
made many
altyapısından
services
faydalanmış ve
and monuments
Türkiye'yi
for our country,
dünyanın
and with the
en büyük
strength
10
that we derive
ekonomisi
from
arasına
here,
sokacak bir
we are
programı uyguluyor.
applying a program that will make our country one
Ama
of the top
unutmayın,
10 economies of the world. Our
kazanımlarımız
problems
mahir,
are temporary, but
umudumuz
our
canlı,
achievements are permanent. Our
geleceğimiz
hope is
aydınlık.
live, and our
Ne
futures are
yaptığımızı,
bright. We
niçin
know what
yaptığımızı,
we do and
nasıl
why we
başaracağımızı
do, how
ve
we
sonuçta
achieve,
ne elde
and
edeceğimizi
what we
gayet iyi
obtain
biliyoruz.
at the end.
Milletimizden sadece sabırlı
We
olması,
only ask our
bize
nation to
güvenmesini
be
istiyoruz.
patient and to have
Ülkemiz
trust in
2023
us.
imtihanından
Our
da
country
başarıyla
will
geçtiğinde
successfully
her
pass the
alanda dünyanın
2023
en
test,
üst ligine
and
çıkmış,
it will be
güçlü,
at the top league
huzurlu,
in every area in the
müreffeh,
world.
lider
It
bir
will be
Türkiye'nin
a
bizi
strong and
beklediğine
prosperous and
canı
a
gönülden
leading
inanıyorum.
country, as I fully believe.
Aziz milletim, küresel ve bölgesel krizler karşısında
In the face of
ülkemizi
global
güçlü
and
tutan,
regional
hayat pahalılığı
crises,
karşısında milletimizi korumanın
we keep our
mücadelesinde
country
de
strong, and we
tüm
protect our
kesimlerin işini
nation from
kolaylaştıracak
the cost of life.
idari reformları
We
da
also
ihmal
carry out
etmiyoruz.
administrative reforms
Geçtiğimiz
which
haftalarda
make it easy for
KDV
different
konusunda
segments of
müsadeleştirme
society.
çalışmasının
Recently, we have
haberini
shared with you
kamuoyuyla
the news that
paylaşmıştık.
we were trying to
Hazine
simplify
ve
the
Maliye
VAT regime.
Bakanlığımız
Our
kendi
Ministry of
iş ve
Treasury
işletme
and
kuruluşları
Finance
ve
and
sektörlerle
NGOs and
yakın
industries
istişare
have
içinde bu
worked in
düzenlemeyi
close
hazırlamıştır.
consultation
Yürütülen
to prepare
çalışma aynı
this
zamanda
amendment. This
vatandaşlarımızı
study
hayat
has
pahalılığı
also
karşısında ezdirmeme,
will also
kararlılığımızın ve enflasyonla
protect our
mücadele
nation
programımızın
from
da
cost
bir
of
parçasıdır.
life, and it's
İlk
also
etapta
part of our program
gıda
to fight
ürünlerindeki
inflation.
KDV oranını
The VAT
üretim,
in food, in
toptan ve
production,
perakende
wholesale,
aşamalarının
and
tamamında
retail phases
%8'den %1'e düşürmüştür.
was decreased from
Bu indirim
8% to
14
1%.
Şubat'tan
This
itibaren
decrease
et,
will
süt,
is efficient by
yumurta,
14th of
yoğurt,
February
peynir,
in meat,
patates,
egg,
balık,
milk,
pek çok üründe
potato, and
bir
grains.
fiil
In many
uygulanmaya
food
başlanmıştır.
items, this was
Ardından beslenmelde
initiated. After that,
tarımsal
in
sulamadan
households
kullanılan
and
elektriğin
agricultural
KDV'sini
irrigation,
1
we
Mart'tan
have dropped the
itibaren
VAT by 1st of
%18'den
March from
%0'a
18%
indirdi.
to 8%.
Şimdi de temel ihtiyaç
And
maddelerinden
now,
olan
in
deterjan,
basic needs
sabun,
for
tuvalet
detergents,
kağıdı,
soap,
peçete,
toilet paper,
bebek
paper
bezi gibi
towels,
ürünlerin
and baby
KDV'sini
products,
%18'den
the VAT
%8'e indirme kararı
is
aldı.
being decreased from
Ayrıca
18% down
yemek
to
ve hizmetlerin
8%.
tamamında
Also, in
KDV
all food and
oranını
beverage services,
%8 olarak
VAT
belirliyor.
is being set as
Böylece yemek ve
8%.
hizmetlerinde
So, in
halen
food and beverage
birinci sınıf
services,
işletme, 3
first
yıldız
level
ve üzeri otel
business,
gibi
three-star
yapılarda
hotels,
uygulanmakta
and
olan
above, the
%18
18%
KDV oranını
VAT level
%8'e
is being
indirmek
dropped
istedik.
to 8%.
Konut ve arsalardaki KDV
The VAT
sadeleştirilmesi bir diğer
simplification
çalışmamız.
in land and
Buna göre
household is
satın
another
alınan
area
konut
of study.
nerede olursa
No
olsun
matter where the purchased
metrekaresine göre
house
değişen
is,
aynı
based
ödemenin
on the square
KDV
meter,
uygulamasına
this
tabi olur.
it will
Yani
be subject
net
to a
alanı
gradual VAT.
150
If the
metrekareyi
net
aşmayan
uh,
konutlarda
area is less
KDV
than 150 square meters, VAT will be
büyüklüğü aşan konutlar
8%. And for
150
Houses above that, for the first 150%, the VAT will be 8%, and for above, the VAT will be 18%. For areas under disaster risk, in line with the transformation law, up to 150 square meters there will be 1%, and for above there will be 18% VAT application. For land, the VAT is also being decreased to 8% in order to decrease the financing burden on the construction industry. Another change is for our exporters. The VAT that they pay during production can be taken under exemption, but up to a certain level of export cost, having a VAT decrease will be offered as a choice. For businesses under investment subsidies, we are changing the VAT exemption method, and we are including tourism investment into this as well. With the new method, after producers finish their investment, rather than asking for VAT decrease, they will be able to carry out the same transactions without paying VAT. In line with the Health Ministry legislation, the medical device VAT is decreased from 18% down to 8%. In agriculture industry, every kind of certified seed, sapling, we are decreasing VAT to 1%, and for milk collection tanks we are decreasing VAT to 8%. With a full discount application, we are solving the problems of taxpayers who are experiencing challenges in this area. In order to bring more foreign currency to our country, the exemption for houses and offices sold to foreign citizens is being increased from 1 year to 3 years. For car dealers, the profit and yachts and boats and cruise ship sales, the 1% VAT is being increased to 18%. In iron and steel products, in sales stages up to the final user, we are introducing VAT discount. All such legislation and amendments, I hope, will be auspicious for our economy. On the other hand, today there is another positive news that we share with you, is about studies that will turn our country into an electric vehicle production base. TOG, our locally manufactured vehicle, and developments in other electric vehicle use have encouraged us to take new steps in spreading the charging stations. Through ministry in all of our 81 provinces, we are establishing more than 1,500 high-speed charging stations, and we are ensuring a 300 million lira support for this. Our goal is that within a year we will have a widespread and efficient high-speed charging infrastructure in our country, and may God help us. Once again, I greet all of you with my love and respect, and take care and stay healthy.